Yo guys, I'm Yellow, a Norwegian hardcore PC gamer, and today I figured that we should talk about kill to death ratio in CSGO and how it doesn't necessarily mean anything, even though again it does to a certain degree, alright? So in Counter-Strike, stats will not necessarily signify too much of what you're actually doing in the game in terms of what actually have some kind of impact. Now, in terms of your skill as a player, it can be a decent signifier to watch how you're good at the shooting aspect, just the raw gun battle aspect of playing Counter-Strike, alright? Good examples of this would be just how accurate you will be with your guns, what kind of guns you take, and what kind of gunfights you take, you know, distances, how you peek, how you bait people, how many crazy shots you might be able to get with the AVP. In general, it will give you a decent sense of how good you are in terms of the form of how you're able to use guns in Counter-Strike. But excluding all of that kind of stuff, in terms of the tactical aspect of CS, you're not actually getting any kind of worth out of just being incredibly skilled at shooting in Counter-Strike. And this is also one of the most annoying things that I've experienced in terms of even trying to enter any kind of pro scene. You'll find a lot of people that have just grinded the shooting aspect of Counter-Strike, and they're playing incredibly aggressive or just half stupid, and they just keep on shutting you down. But you know that in the end of the day, if you were to just have more intelligent teammates, you would be able to shut down the opponent team, which is a very interesting aspect that probably only truly goes down in games like Counter-Strike, alright? In which, as you can see right here, because of how the teammates of the opponent team are, in the end of the day, able to flank me, and I was just not looking the right way, they were able to kill me, even though, again, I would have probably been able to, on that B site in that previous round, been able to get that lovely ace on that B site. But then again, that is just how Counter-Strike works. Some things will be incredibly rough to predict. But the point, though, is that, yeah, you won't be able to do anything if you don't play with your teammates. This essentially, thus, in a lot of scenarios, nullify anything that you might do towards getting good stats. And the best examples of this will be how the money game in Counter-Strike, or rather how because of how there is an economy towards the game, how this aspect of the game nullifies any progression that it does towards taking down the opponent team. Which thus means that you can, for example, be in a clutch, you can get the 2 kills, but because of how they wasted all of your time, now as a CT you suddenly can't defuse the bomb, and GG, you know? They die, you know, but you die as well, maybe, who knows? But in the end of the day, because of how this goes down, they can still buy because they won the round, and even if that might be half-assed because of how pistols are OP as well, but also because of how they might be clever players with the equipment they got, in the end of the day, those kills didn't matter. This also goes down in eco rounds. If you're one guy being able to get a lot of kills, especially also if those kills are being gotten with a gun that doesn't give a money multiplier bonus in terms of killing them, let's say a submachine gun or a shotgun and such things, you're not going to give yourself, your team and yourself as well, not too much of an edge. On top of that, the kills doesn't really matter that much because the people are just trying to harass you to death, in which they're expecting to die in a lot of scenarios, meaning that those rounds will in some scenarios overwhelm you. Yeah, I know, that happens to everybody, but as you probably know, it won't really have too much of an impact towards how you're playing. Now, good ways to thus kind of sort of try to nullify this even going down. Let's say that you're one of those guys in matchmaking, whether or not you're a Silver 3 player or a Legendary Eagle Master or even a Global Elite guy. Let's say that you're one of those guys that get like 30, 40, 50 kills, but you're still losing the game. This has happened before, it's probably gonna happen again. What you can do is to try and literally focus on the aspects of the game that make Counter-Strike Counter-Strike. It's probably going to be the best things to do in those scenarios universally, alright? So a good example would be to try and fire up all the cylinders of being an in-game leader and see what you can be able to do with your teammates, regardless of how much communication they already have done towards yourself, alright? I mean, if you're not going to be the guy that actually goes out there and do something, there might be a good chance that your teammates will just lay around and just let the round pass, or rather the entire game pass, because they're not on fire that game or that map and such things. Excluding all of that kind of stuff, you can also try and support your teammates as much as possible. This would be, for example, to favor a guy that has actually made a good play, favor him towards giving him a drop instead of somebody else. Or maybe you could structure it so that you know that, alright, I got this guy that is a little bit above a cut of all the other guys on my team. Give him a gun instead and prioritize him quickly. That way you can maybe potentially make it so that he will have at least the equipment to take down a couple of the more stronger opponents on the opponent team. And aside from this, you can try and use sublime teamwork, or you can literally try and seek out the strongest opponent on the opponent team. If you ever show any kind of trend of how he's playing, this thus would mean that you got at least a bigger and better chance towards being able to close out more rounds and thus pressure the economy of the opponent team and making it so that there's a bigger chance for a lot of your teammates to stay alive. This thus means by the basic numbers that there might be a bigger chance for you to win naturally, right? And that is aside from literally just playing the game by good communication, good calls, accurate calls, and such things, because, you know, that obviously makes Counter-Strike more way more efficient to play in general. I mean, if anybody of you out there have ever seen any pro players or players that are rather skilled stream Counter-Strike, you'll find this to be a basic trend of anybody that play Counter-Strike a lot and has done that for a decent amount of time. They got good communication because it actually matters a lot in Counter-Strike on any level, especially the higher ones. And so from there on out, it all really depends on how much time you figure that you want to put into Counter-Strike, in which the more maps you play and the more flexible you become towards calls and such things, the better you're going to be able to play Counter-Strike. In which, yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I know that that kind of feels like a half cop-out towards a good explanation towards exactly how you're supposed to be able to just win more rounds, but in the end of the day, not every match that you're gonna play in Counter-Strike are going to be great, you know? Sometimes we meet legitimate insane smurfers, or people that might cheat. I mean, I was watching an Overwatch game the other day, and I legitimately saw a fucking rage hacker. I've not seen one of those in a crazy amount of time. But the point, though, is that if you, at least then, even if the game goes bad, pick up the pieces, take what you learn, and, you know, hone your skills even further in that next game. Hopefully, eventually, you're going to be able to just easily break out of that rank. If not, you can get a lot more stat trick kills, and at the in the best scenarios, you might even be able to add more nice people in which you can team up with, in which probably have a lot of these things that you should have towards getting better at CS, in which, in the end of the day, you will probably rank up with ease, even though, again, it obviously take a lot of practice. And so with that being said, hopefully this made some sense to you people. If it did not, I guess that's a good thing. Thanks for watching. If you want to get better at CSGO, you should probably subscribe for that. More videos coming up eventually. And with that being said, thanks for the Patreon support, by the way. All of those rewards are going to get activated as this month has now started, in which some updates will probably happen in the TeamSpeak realm, so yeah, take a look out for that as well, in which I don't have too much more to say other than, yeah, thanks for supporting my broke ass, as I'm completely broke and such things. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, have a nice day, and don't get beastified when you play.